So it seems that the first expansion for Diablo 4 has potentially been leaked with a ton of very interesting information. And it seems that there's actually multiple different leaks, all with a little bit of differing information, but all of them are sharing a bunch of the bigger bullet points of what we could be expecting in the first expansion for Diablo 4, and even getting some additional information for Season 3. Now, it seems most of this information comes from one of two different places, one being a group of people that were able to obtain some files from SteamDB that shows some possible information we could be getting in the first expansion, and the second seems to come from a group of people that were able to download some test build of Diablo 4 where they weren't able to actually play, but they were able to get some additional information for the future expansion and potentially even Season 3. And after all this information was obtained, it seems that multiple different sources released slightly differing pieces of information, first coming from a post on MMO Champion, and then second coming from a Russian YouTuber, which had very similar information, but it seems that the post on MMO Champion had a little bit more explanation on some of these systems or new content. Now, it does seem that a lot of the main bullet points are very similar or the exact same across all of these different leaks, and this includes the most interesting information about the next expansion if these prove to be true. So first off, the next expansion will take place in the region of Karast. We will be getting a new class called the Spiritborn, which uses glaives and mentions things like nature, wings, and soaring or potential flying. There will also be the introduction of the mercenary or follower system, mentioning things like a berserker, a bounty hunter, a maiden, a scholar, and some additional stuff. And one of the most exciting possibilities being the introduction of a 5-wing raid, which will take place in the Tomb of Akarat, which if these leaks end up being true, or any part of these leaks end up being true, I hope the raid is the one that's actually real. And it also seems there was some possible Season 3 leaks as well, multiple of these leaks actually naming Season 3 as Dreamscape. There was also a mention of the stash size increasing to 500, so this would basically be doubling the stash size, and it wasn't super clear if the stash size increase was something that would be coming with Season 3 or would be coming with the expansion, but it did seem like these were more mentioned specifically with Season 3, which would make sense as we do need a stash increase pretty badly. But there was also a mention of runestones with the ability to possibly be able to corrupt runestones as well, and again, some of this information wasn't specific on if these runestones would be something with Season 3 or if these would be part of the first expansion. Now, as I've covered previously before Diablo 4 even came out, the developers did mention that they want to re-add runes into Diablo 4 in some future content update, whether that be with a new season or with a new expansion. So it does make sense that we would be getting runes or rune stones at some point in the future of Diablo 4, but not sure if these would be slated for Season 3 or for the first expansion. And one of the interesting parts about these multiple different leaks is one of the leaks specifically says that the next expansion is going to be called Lord of Hatred, which would obviously be based upon Mephisto, which is a pretty big part of the main campaign of Diablo 4. So it would make sense that a future expansion would be focused around Mephisto, and he would probably be the end boss of that expansion. But another one of the leaks, specifically the leak on MMO Champion, and actually another leak I was able to find, both call the expansion something different. The expansion's name is specifically called Nahantu, which does seem a little bit weird. It would actually make sense if that was kind of a code name and that Lord of Hatred would actually be the officially released expansion name, but depending on which leak you're looking at, it does have different names for the expansion. And like mentioned, the leak on MMO Champion actually has a little bit more information, more so laying out a bunch of this information in a way that it would be laid out if this expansion was being actually revealed. So information on the different areas you're going to be going to, and more information on the new class called Spiritborn. And actually in every single leak, the new class is specifically called Spiritborn as well, no matter which version you're looking at. And this leak does start out as having the expansion name as Nahantu. So this vast land, similar to the size of the other 5 zones, is teeming with untamed wilderness and ancient secrets waiting to be discovered. Nahantu is is a land of contrast, from the restless canopies of verdant foliage to the barren expanse of the Tinganzu Plateau. It is home to the Field of Giants, a place of lingering hatred, and the dark depths of the Karras sewers. Each location presents unique challenges and opportunities for the Spiritborn, whose connection with nature will be tested like never before. The zones come with new quests that will take players on a journey through Nahantu's many dungeons, from the eerie Forge of Malice and the Sleepless Hollow to the haunting Forgotten Remains and Ruined Wild. Each dungeon holds dangers and treasures in equal measure. The campaign will lead players through the Durance of Hate to the gates of the Necropolis, into the ethereal spirit realm, and finally to the 5 Hills, the Tomb of Akarat. Each step of the journey will reveal more about Nahantu's history and its connection to the Spiritborn. The pinnacle of Nahantu's challenges is a new raid centered around Khazra with 5 wings to conquer. This raid will push even the most seasoned adventurers to their limits. So this type of write-up would commonly be something that would be released alongside the reveal of the expansion, usually on like the official website, that just gives you some more backstory into the locations of the expansion. But there's also a write-up on the new class, the Spiritborn, which across all the leaks also mentions it using glaives. So the release of the Spiritborn class opens up a new way to experience Diablo 4. Their unique abilities and playstyle offers fresh strategies for tackling Nahantu's challenges, whether you're navigating through the Restless Canopy or battling in the depths of the Karras sewers. Playing as a Spiritborn in Nahantu promises an adventure like no other. The Spiritborn, a class deeply rooted in the elements of nature and the spiritual realm, they are the children of the wild, born from the spirit of the plains, sky, soil, and forest. Their souls are intertwined with the world around them, drawing strength from the very essence of life and nature. Their weapon of choice is the glaive, a symbol of their connection to both the physical and spiritual realms. The glaive is more than just a weapon to the Spiritborn. It is an extension of their spirit, a conduit through which they channel their power. The Spiritborn's power comes from their 2 resources, vigor and allegiance. Vigor represents their physical vitality and endurance gained from their bond with the earth and sky. It fuels their physical abilities and allows them to perform feats of agility and strength beyond normal capabilities. Allegiance, on the other hand, represents their spiritual connection to nature and its creatures. It is through allegiance that they can call upon the spirits of nature for aid, summoning ethereal allies or invoking powerful elemental spells. The Spiritborn are not merely fighters, they are guardians of balance. They stand on the balance between the physical world and the spiritual realm, ensuring harmony between the two. Their mission is not just to defeat their allies, but to preserve the natural order of things. In battle, a Spiritborn is a sight to behold. They move with the grace of the wind, their glaives dancing like leaves in a storm. Their attacks are fluid and relentless, like a river carving its path through stone. And when they call upon their spiritual powers, the air around them crackles with raw elemental energy. So a write-up giving a bit more lore and backstory to the new class that would fit in with the reveal of an expansion, or it could just be something written up by ChatGTP. But like I mentioned, I think the kind of big bullet points are the most interesting part. So first off, you have mercenaries or the follower system, and in this write-up it actually has some more specifics. So a berserker crone, a bounty hunter, a cursed child, a maiden, a mongrel, a scholar, and a shield bearer, which would be all the different followers you could get. In another one of the leaks, it also mentions that there will be an equipment system and a talent tree for all of these different mercenaries or followers. So that would definitely fit in with the follower system from previous Diablo games, and it would make sense to even expand upon that a little bit and give a bit more options and bigger skill trees. But previous to Diablo 4 releasing, this was one of the things that I said would be a pretty big win to get added in a future season or expansion for Diablo 4. Previous Diablo games all had this system. It would make complete sense that they would add this system in as new content later down the road. Then, as mentioned, the most exciting part being the new possible raid called 5 Hills that would take place in the Tomb of Akarat. It would have 5 different wings. Raids are also something I've mentioned previously that would be something that I think would work very well in Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is supposed to be more of a shared world experience, kind of something akin to like Destiny 2, where it's not an MMO, but it's always online and you're able to see more players. So having a raid that say may have like up to 8 players or something like that would be a pretty massive addition that I think would work very well. And remember to take all these leaks with a grain of salt, because all of these could be completely fake. Now, some of this information does seem to be at least somewhat true, because there has also been just legitimate data mining that talks about the different jungle areas that were mentioned in some of these leaks, and the expansion taking place in Karras, which is located below Kyrgyzstan, and below that is one of the jungles that was mentioned in some of these leaks as well. So it makes sense that if it's taking place in Karras, we would go even a little bit below that that and go into some of these jungles. So some of this information is actually taken directly from legitimate data mining, but that's kind of where the verifiable information ends, because all this other stuff is just coming from potential leaks. But I will say, if this ends up being true, this is actually a lot of really cool information. Raids would be really cool, stash sizes needed, a rune system coming back, a new class that's never been in any other Diablo game. All of that does sound pretty interesting. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.